Greetings, I'll bring you good tidings, starseeds and space cadets, and fragmented, fallen, risen, sideways, and all of the above for you as you've tuned in to what we call the flip side. Giving you a few ideas and tips of how to behave, how to conduct oneself, to bring one forth and across time and space, navigating appropriately, keeping the mental construct in absolute and formidable shape. Yes, indeed. Representing the Ra collective, as in Ra speaks, as in data streams channels, as conscious as humanly possible. To teach a human mind, including extraterrestrial contact, is a complex scenario of a variety of systems being applied to us, as in the hybrid race or the sixth race. In order to understand telepathy, the brain has to compute a basic reference of a couple of millions of symbols in no time. When a zero field is not understood within, it is not processed without. Henceforth, society, consensus, status quo, and all the good things are slowing the process down considerably. It is to maintain the consciousness. It is to maintain vigilant. It is to be active as a participant in this universe, to change the quantum hologram. Do not accept what you see, but the change that you require, as in expressing yourself of as above so below, as in the divine heavenly high faculty of the high, so it is in the lower. Lower not meaning bad as in shadow, or unprocessed or unfinished ghostly businesses. More so you integrating higher self and lower self. By putting that together, discipline is required. Concentration is required. Holding the line is required. And when being in the field, all the tantalizing and tempting options around you clicked off. Screen time, obvious, non-essential dabbling in social media and entanglement is no longer necessary. As in of 2020, you have the choice to generate things and create things directly as needed. Past movies, past suggestions, we're finding out now, correlating brain states and brain waves, which can also lead to another video, will actually enable you to make that what you'll call contact. So we will break it down for you, for your understanding. In order to have something like that of a saint, healing capacities, and what you have seen in many churches, caves, cave paintings, and all the descriptions, is the halo. Science has found out now, and you can Google that yourself, that the correlating alpha to theta is the beginning stage of having a halo, because it actually, you can say, turns on a circuitry in the brain which involves electrical impulses, neurotransmitted through your brain, translated into what is computable in this dimension as you use this vessel to dive into the experience of the simulation, which is within a bigger simulation. In order for the domesticated mind to lean outward and to look further than what the mind is expected, or what is based on the mere five senses, must be trained. So galactic shamans, intergalactic, interdimensional shamans, interdimensional beings know this. Yes, it's a simulation. Yes, it is a dream state. The shaman trains in himself or herself to make this the dream state and the other world the real world, and travel by what you feel in your gut, not by sight. Don't be impressed by numbers that represent hype, but not the actionable intelligence and motivation brought forth by you seeing actual physical steps. Same thing as in healing modalities. As you look at your heart rate, we have developed technology now on your planet that will show your heart rate. It'll show if your heart skips beats. For those who are transcendental meditation practitioners, and those who believe in their mind, in their imagination, that they are in a very deep meditative state, well, the future will be very revealing when EEG, which is designed to measure your brain states, will reveal that you are in beta. You are active and you are imagining the process of meditation. That means you're not embodying that what is required. When Zen monks have been measured after 21 years for basic training and master level or high master level or for 41 years, different correlating brain states have been monitored to be in a synchronistic behavior. The ideal pattern is what science has found out in order to develop your extrasensory perceptions, and classes will follow in the future and be established to help you to train such manners. There's no such thing as magic. The only thing that exists is science, quantifiable evidence, and things that you can repeat. When you reach those brain states, what you will see will be evident. Parts of interviews that we have scanned, we also have heard that the Monroe Institute have found out the dimension where the shutter speed requires the receptors of your eyes to respond in a way where an infant would be, can be accessed when memory banks of that young age can be reactivated. And as a certain brain state that is required in order to see that, what you call the angels. And once that brain state is established, you'll see again. So that for what is required to open your third eye is actually physically in your body. God, Elohim within the body, which is the translation of the Hebrew alphabet of the fire letters of the Gattaca code into the human species. So the evidence is undeniable, clear, that you are not monkeys. You don't derive from monkeys. Maybe there was a mixture and a mix-up in a genetic processing. But we also have science now finding out, actually, that the genetic modification of the human race has taken place at least 64 times. Dr. Hayflick found the Hayflick switch. Another doctor has found the worship gene with a name and a marker which you can find, which is a design that you need something external beside yourself to worship, to serve, and bring sacrifice and be obedient to it. Now, this is the time of knowledge. This is the time of freeing your mind, getting into knowing the ledge, knowing the edge of the actual thing that is actually brought forth for your mind, and you get out of the hype. You get into the real things that are. The human race has now developed electrical systems, battery-powered cars. Tesla has developed that almost 120 years ago, was laughed at as a pioneer. But yet here we go again, building modular systems that can actually create lift in ways and forms that we never thought possible. But it's here. We have plotters and printers. We can print now three-dimensional objects in our home. We can design from scratch. Manifestation becomes a whole nother level as the human race is ascending, and we all are doing it. Some that are stuck in the old paradigm refuse and resist. But if you resist, it persists. And if you persist, it resists. It is useless, because it's hitting us all, and we are evolving all into this. Technology, yes, speeds things up. So as we develop AI, well, guess what? Natural intelligence is also developed. You can look at your statistics. No longer will you follow promised leads of things that don't have any revenue. So you can check for yourself. Well, how many customers did this person have? What's the revenue of that store? What are the official numbers are telling me? If things are hidden and not seen and not transparent, they'll well put them into question. The clarity of the mind right now is at a phenomenal stage, and we will increase at a phenomenal rate to bring forth downloads for the human race to really go supernova in the next 5 years. As in development, you have organic ink three-dimensional plotters that can print human hearts according to stem cells research. Well, 10 years ago, this was deemed impossible or looked at ridiculous. Well, it is now actual fact. In your world, in your place, space and time. Even the psychological aspect now looks at the esoteric and mythological belief system and metaphors, as in taking reference of how can psychology be expanded and developed further. Well, we welcome that. It's the revelation of the seventh ray, which is scientists without degrees will be chosen to download from the realms of possibilities, succinctly speaking, and those who bring home the goods because they know how to adjust their mind and train their mind and process mental hygiene, and the telomeres in their brain can reach these spheres to bring into three-dimensional reality things that you've never dreamed possible, and they are now happening. At some point you will develop batteries that would last in a car for 2 years without charging. You will develop solar panels so powerful that a supercharger won't even be required, because in an instant you will have a charging capacity that you never thought would be possible. You're now realizing that nanotechnology is actually giving you more surface coverage, as in light refraction, deflection, and reflection, and storage capacity of the isotopes within the compound, which is what we work with, photons. So the mastership and the learning of the directive of how light is captured and being reused will be on the forefront. So this is not a prediction, this is a mere probability, as in you keep going this way, this is where you will be going. When you reach certain light levels and biodynamic analysis, as in retreats that will be set up by people that will be chosen from upstairs, by choosing to channel what must be chosen, it will be built into physical form. And then healing, as in wellness and repair and cell reset of intracellular cell communication, will be on a level that will blow your mind. Healing capacities will be mind-blowing, and we will learn very quick to get out of awe and get into modalities that actually work for us, while still some people choose to have operations. Others will find modalities that there are other ways, or others are exhausted by not finding a solution and going from doctor to doctor, no disrespect, and not really finding a solution, and looking at something that seems so outrageous, so preposterous, that they come back with a solution, and doctors are baffled by the changes that have taken place in the blood sugar, cancer remission, things past chemo. And we speak from observation. We're not making any claims. We're looking at the things that had happened and things that brought stories to us, explaining how one healer went to an ayahuasca session, which that is when it is serious, to the Amazon, and she was terminal and stage 4, and the doctor was like 15 months and goodbye, and she didn't accept that as a final statement. She doesn't wish to be on camera. She lives a very peaceful and secluded life, but in trust she showed me that she had cancer over her back, and it was spread widely. And when she returned after facing, she said, legions of demons in another world, and several ayahuasca sessions, and this is when it really makes sense, when there's an application that can be actually translated into physical form. There's no debate, there's no arguing, there's actually nothing that can be said if you look at the x-ray 6 months after the treatment and the journey, and there is no cancer cell to be found in the body, and the doctors are baffled. Of course they won't propagate, but they have no explanation why the cancer in that lady disappeared, and today she's a healer, and she's happy and she's clear. So things will take place that will clear your mind very quick, where you understand there are modalities that will just take place. They are what they are, such as even psychics working with the police, with finding the suspects on a 95% ratio on average, meaning they're on target, they're on point, and things are working. So there will be no more debate with ESP or free association. It's like the kid in the backyard has no idea, has a dream of a golden box beyond the tree, and feels that many years ago an old guy buried something under the tree. So the 5-year-old goes out there with asks grandpa for the shovel. He's visiting the grandparents and starts digging and finds a box that's roughly 200 years old because he had a dream. Coincidence? Impossible. When there's an information given and then you retract that information and you find the evidence, there's no debate. So for the critical eye outside, there's no debate anymore when things are applied and they are in place. As in, you take the conjecture of the elliptical pathway of planets, the colors of planets, the names of planets. You take the Sumerian tablets, which are in the Natural History Museum in Ankara in Turkey, and you use the data to do a comparison, and you find that the planetary data that the Elohim Anunnaki left on the tablets, which are roughly 6,000 years old, are a match to our planets today. And we know this only 20 years ago from probes we have sent into outer space. And when the probe data that comes back, and it's so funny that people still want to argue this, and it's a match, that the correlating data matches with what you found in the ground, a clay tablet. I rest my case, Your Honor. There's no debate. It is just evident. So the evidence is so overwhelming that we have been visited, that we have ancestors, and that we are their offspring, that we now can really make sense of our lives, and that quicker. And there will be classes and things brought forth by many people, not just I, where we will look at what brain state are we operating from. So if you have an addiction, you are in a certain consciousness level, of a certain response level of not understanding or understanding, or even able to reflect what's being projected in front of you. When people say, I lose contact or context, I don't understand what's being relayed to me, that has to do with cognitive dissonance, meaning that your brain state doesn't even have the capacity to understand the verbal communication nor the articulation that's coming forth from the vessel in front of you. In order to get into that state, we need to recalibrate our brain states. First thing that everybody must learn, and go look for it and Google it, alpha training. Do we have healthy alpha levels? And then into training all brain states accordingly. And guess what? When the brain state correlates accordingly to where it needs to be from a base level, it gets very magical. Pattern recognition becomes something else. IQ is increased, and the way you compute the data and spit data back to what is actually needed will be so phenomenal that you'll be on the go psychically reading people as you're having a surface conversation, sitting at the coffee table while people go yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and you see it all. You see the pattern, you see what's coming at you, you know how to compute, evaluate, retract, look at data, and you will act in a way that you kind of know what's coming. So any approach that will be made, or anything that is coming in your direction, your discernment and boundaries being defined, you know what it means to be aware, which is the greatest protector of everything that you could ever imagine, defining everything that can be a threat of you wherever you live, where you go, whatever the demographics may be. Awareness is what must be trained and will be trained in the near future. And this is the message we're relaying to you and wishing you a healthy 2020, because 2020 means what? Clear vision. Seeing the picture clear in front of you, talking to the being in front of you, not making any mistake of knowing what is actually taking place in front of your very eye. So you witness reality without adding or taking away from the escrow that is. And when we understand to walk the middle ground, the middle line, the golden thread, the red line in a story plot, knowing the story, change the story. Own your royal rites of passage as you're here on this planet and you're worthy to go forward and create. There's no excuse to not turn anything that you can do or give of service to this planet into energy that can serve others and that can be shared. And this is the message that we wanted to relay to you from the Arcturian Council, the Ra Collective, in part this vessel, bringing forth by day from the hidden form into the physical for you to witness. And what did Philip K. Dick say? Truth is what refuses to go away, whether you believe it or not. May the sightings continue and the force grow within you, because you're all Jedis. You're all chosen. You're all here to do your part. So participate and await the magic, recognize, activate, amplify, expand, and get faster, bigger, quicker, and compute in a way to when the DeLorean jumps at 88 miles per hour into other dimensions. So you find the apex of your destiny and you can go interstellar and develop the awareness that you always been that and that your family has actually never left you. Greetings, and I most certainly will see you on the blessed dimensional side that we call the flip side. Thank you.